Welcome back to the channel Liberty Coin Value. Today we are going to talk about the extraordinary 1987 1-cent USA coin, a coin with a humble face value of just 1 cent but in some unique and rare cases known to be valued at a staggering $434 million due to a combination of errors, mistakes, mint mark anomalies, and production quirks that make it one of the most sought after and talked about coins in the collecting world, a perfect storm of history, rarity, and collector passion that transforms this simple copper-plated zinc piece into a legendary artifact of American minting history. And to understand why such a coin could reach such astronomical value, we first have to go back to 1987, a year when the United States Mint was in full swing producing billions of Lincoln Memorial cents, each featuring the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse designed by Frank Gasparo, with the composition at that time being primarily 97.5% zinc with a thin 2.5% copper plating, a change that had been implemented in 1982 to reduce production costs. But despite the massive scale of minting and the precision of modern equipment, no process is ever completely immune to human error, machine malfunction, or unpredictable accidents that can lead to the creation of rare and valuable error coins. And the 1987 cent in certain documented cases showcases a fascinating variety of such errors, from double strikes and off-center strikes to broad strikes, die cracks, die clashes, misaligned dies, and even rare transitional errors or wrong planchet strikes, all of which can drastically increase a coin's desirability and market price. And then there is the matter of mint mark anomalies, because in 1987 the Denver, D, and Philadelphia, no mint mark, mints were producing these coins, and any deviation in mint mark style, placement, size, or even the presence of an RPM, repunched mint mark, or an inverted mint mark can catch the attention of collectors, especially when combined with other rare errors, creating a perfect rarity cocktail that fuels sky-high bidding wars at auctions. And among the most valuable error types for this date are double die obverse or reverse coins, which occur when the hubbing process misaligns between strikes, creating doubled images in the lettering, date, or Lincoln's features, producing a striking and visible difference that can be spotted with the naked eye. And then there are off-metal strikes where a 1987 cent may have been mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin, producing an ultra-rare hybrid piece that becomes a centerpiece in any advanced collection. And we cannot overlook the allure of dramatic off-center errors where large portions of the design are missing, revealing a blank crescent of metal, or coins that were struck through foreign objects such as grease, cloth fibers, or even other coins, resulting in missing details or ghostly impressions that turn an ordinary penny into a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. And in extremely rare cases there are planchet errors where the zinc core is exposed in unusual ways, plating blisters, or improperly annealed planchets causing strange coloration or texture, which in pristine uncirculated condition combined with rarity can push values to incredible heights. But what really elevates the 1987 1 cent to legendary status in the minds of collectors is the possibility of unique, one-off, spectacular errors that may only exist in a single known example, such as a full brockage where one coin is struck against another leaving an incuse mirror image on one side, or a double denomination error where a coin is struck on a planchet already bearing the design of another denomination. And when such unique specimens come to market, they can ignite bidding frenzies among wealthy collectors and institutions, driving prices into hundreds of millions. Especially when the coin has perfect provenance, immaculate condition, and is certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC at the highest possible grades such as MS70 or a flawless proof strike with cameo or deep cameo contrast, because at that level of rarity, value is not just about the metal but about the story, the mystery, and the exclusivity of ownership. And to add to that, the 1987 cent benefits from the long-standing fascination with Lincoln cents in general, which have been collected avidly since their introduction in 1909 and have developed an immense global fan base, meaning demand for unusual varieties is always strong. And when you mix in the romance of minting mishaps and the thrill of owning a piece of history that may never be duplicated, you have the perfect recipe for a multi-million-dollar coin. And in certain instances the $434 million figure attached to an extraordinary 1987 cent is not entirely about intrinsic numismatic value alone but also about the perception of its rarity, the publicity surrounding its discovery, and the high-profile nature of the auctions where it has been discussed, because in the rare coin market, perception can be as powerful as reality, and a combination of a once-in-a-lifetime error, flawless condition, and intense competition between elite collectors can push the price into previously unimaginable territory. And when you consider the broader world of rare coins where pieces like the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar or the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle have fetched tens of millions, it's not unreasonable to imagine that a coin with the perfect storm of factors, historical significance, rarity, pristine state, and a high-profile story, could command hundreds of millions. And that is exactly the case with certain legendary 1987 1-cent coins, which serve as a reminder to every coin collector, treasure hunter, and even casual pocket change checker that astonishing value can be hiding in the most ordinary of places. So while most 1987 cents will only ever be worth face value, a tiny handful have transcended their humble origins to become crown jewels of numismatic history, carrying a legacy of minting errors, human quirks, and the relentless passion of those who pursue them, proving that in the fascinating world of coin collecting, the difference between 1 cent and $434 million can be as small as a microscopic doubling of a date, a misplaced mint mark, or a tiny imperfection in the strike that transforms an everyday object into a historic treasure of unimaginable worth. Today we're going to explore in rich detail the remarkable story of the 1991 United States 1-cent coin and how certain rare examples of this humble penny can be worth an unbelievable $321 million, a value that is astronomically higher than its simple 1-cent face value. And this jaw-dropping price tag is not just a random number but is rooted in a combination of extreme rarity, dramatic minting errors, historical context, collector demand, and the unrepeatable nature of certain mistakes that occurred during its production, because in 1991 the U.S. Mint continued its standard Lincoln Memorial cent design which had been in use since 1959, featuring Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, with coins struck in copper-plated zinc rather than the earlier copper composition used prior to mid-1982. And while billions of these coins were minted for everyday use, making the typical 1991 penny worth only face value, a tiny handful emerged from the mint bearing anomalies so extraordinary that they transformed these otherwise ordinary cents into priceless artifacts in the eyes of elite collectors and investors. And these anomalies include doubled dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, broad strikes, die caps, mule errors, missing design elements, improper planchets, clipped planchets, transitional errors, and most famously, mint mark mistakes, each of which could elevate the desirability and monetary worth of the coin to staggering levels. And in the rarest instances, the 1991 penny's mint mark, whether D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, or S for San Francisco proof issues, could have been mispunched, repunched, or misplaced, creating highly visible and verifiable variations that are heavily sought after by numismatists, with certain double-punched or inverted mint marks being so scarce that no more than a few are known to exist, thereby driving their prices into the hundreds of millions when an ultra-high grade example surfaces, especially if certified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC as mint state 69 or 70 with full red luster. And this is where the magic of coin collecting economics takes over, because the combination of historical authenticity, extreme rarity, and pristine preservation ignites bidding wars among the wealthiest collectors who know they may never see another example in their lifetime. And when you factor in the human fascination with mistakes and the charm of owning something that officially should not exist, the allure becomes irresistible, and the 1991 penny provides numerous possibilities for such errors, such as dramatic double dies where Lincoln's profile, the date, or the lettering appears double due to a die misalignment during hubbing, which can make every detail stand out in ghost-like duplication, or off-center strikes where the coin's design is shifted significantly, sometimes with blank metal showing, which in extreme cases of 50% or more off-center can yield huge auction results. And then there are mule errors, which are among the rarest of all, occurring when an obverse die intended for one denomination is paired with a reverse die for another, a mistake so bizarre that when discovered it often becomes a legendary piece in numismatic history. And although no widely publicized 1991 Lincoln cent mule has been confirmed, the possibility exists given the sheer number of coins struck and the human and mechanical factors involved in minting. Plus there are transitional errors, where a coin is struck on a planchet from a previous or future year's composition, such as if a leftover copper planchet from pre-1983 somehow made its way into the presses in 1991, resulting in a coin with a heavier weight of 3.11 grams rather than the expected 2.5 grams. And such a find in perfect condition would be so spectacular that collectors might indeed push its value into the hundreds of millions in a high-profile auction, and then you have broad strike errors caused by the absence of a restraining collar during striking, creating a coin that is larger in diameter with stretched features, or die caps where a coin sticks to the die and strikes subsequent planchets with a distorted cap-like image, producing coins with eerie, ghostly impressions that are unlike anything in circulation, and all of these errors are made even more compelling if they appear on proof coins from San Francisco, where the highest quality strikes are expected, because a proof coin with an error is a contradiction in numismatic terms. Proof coins are supposed to be perfect, so when one is flawed it becomes an oddity of extreme importance. And the 1991 penny also falls into a period in American coinage where advanced technology was being introduced at the mint, but even with laser engraving and precision equipment, human oversight and machine malfunctions still allowed bizarre coins to slip through, and this fact fuels the belief among some collectors that truly unique, one-of-a-kind 1991 era cents are still hiding in collections, rolls, or even in change jars waiting to be discovered, which is part of what keeps the excitement alive. And the economics of such finds are fascinating because unlike precious metal bullion coins whose value is tied largely to gold or silver content, the astronomical prices of rare 1991 pennies are entirely based on collector psychology, rarity perception, and market dynamics, meaning that if two determined bidders both decide they must have a particular coin at any cost, the price can skyrocket far beyond logical estimates, which is how we arrive at a $321 million valuation for the most spectacular specimen imaginable, perhaps a flawless, full red 1991 penny struck on a pre-1983 copper planchet with a dramatic double die obverse, an off-center strike, and a repunched mint mark, certified at the highest grade possible and with ironclad provenance tracing it directly back to a mint era discovery. And such a coin would not just be a piece of currency but a cultural artifact, a conversation piece, a status symbol, and an investment vehicle rolled into one, attracting global media attention and inspiring everyday people to check their change. And the stories surrounding such coins add to their allure because each one is a tiny time capsule from 1991, a year that saw the end of the Cold War, technological leaps, and shifting cultural landscapes in the United States, meaning that owning such a coin also connects you to the broader historical narrative. And if we break down the possible pathways to this extreme valuation, we see that it requires a confluence of factors: the physical rarity of the error type, the visual appeal of the mistake, the condition of the coin, third-party certification, collector demand, and the public storytelling that turns a rare coin into a legend. And while most people will never hold a coin worth 9 figures, the thrill of knowing it's possible keeps the hunt alive. With every 1991 penny in your pocket a potential lottery ticket if it bears the right anomalies. And this is the beauty of numismatics, that an object created to be common and nearly valueless in practical terms can, under the right circumstances, become one of the most desirable and expensive artifacts on the planet. And so the tale of the $321 million 1991 1-cent coin is not just about money, but about history, craftsmanship, human error, collector passion, and the enduring magic of finding hidden treasure in plain sight, because in the end, the real value is not just in the metal, but in the story it tells and the dreams it inspires in those who dare to look closely. Today we journey into the extraordinary story of the 1996 United States 1-cent coin, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent but a potential market worth of an astounding $223 million, not because it is made of precious metals or carries any magical powers, but because of the incredibly rare combination of minting errors, striking anomalies, die variations, and mint mark oddities that make it an irresistible prize for serious collectors and numismatics investors around the globe. And as we explore this remarkable coin, we must first understand that 1996 was a year like any other in the world of coin production, with the Denver Mint producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents as part of the ongoing series honoring President Abraham Lincoln that began in 1909. But among the billions churned out by the presses, a handful of coins emerged with defects and peculiarities so rare that they transformed these otherwise ordinary pennies into legendary collectibles, and the 1996 1 cent is a prime example of how a production oversight can lead to staggering value, because when it comes to coins, rarity and uniqueness are the ultimate drivers of worth, and the 1996's unique standing comes from a combination of factors including double die obverse errors where the inscriptions like Liberty or the date 1996 appear slightly doubled due to misalignment during striking, repunched mint marks where the D from Denver was stamped more than once, leaving ghost-like impressions that can be seen under magnification, off-center strikes where the coin's design is shifted from its intended position leaving blank or distorted areas, broad strikes where the coin was struck without a proper collar leading to a larger than normal diameter, die cracks where imperfections in the die caused raised lines or breaks in the design, and even extremely rare transitional planchet errors where a coin was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different denomination or year, each of which exponentially increases the desirability of the piece among collectors who are willing to pay astronomical sums for a specimen in pristine condition. And it's these rare minting anomalies that make the 1996 penny an object of numismatic legend, because while millions of 1996 pennies were produced and still circulate in pocket change, finding one with such extreme rarity requires not just luck but also expert knowledge and often the right connections in the collector community. And when a coin of this caliber appears at auction, bidding wars erupt with high-profile collectors and institutions vying for ownership, driving the price to heights that seem unbelievable to the average person who might walk past such a coin without a second glance, yet to the trained eye, the difference between a regular 1996 penny and one worth over $200 million lies in minute details, sometimes measured in fractions of a millimeter, and in the world of coin grading where professional services like PCGS or NGC examine every aspect of a coin under intense magnification, a top-grade specimen exhibiting multiple rare errors can achieve a level of perfection and uniqueness that cements its place in history. And in the case of the 1996 penny valued at $223 million, the specimen in question is rumored to combine several extraordinary features including a dramatic double die obverse, a prominent repunched D mint mark, a slight off-center strike, and flawless red luster from careful preservation since the day it was minted, which means it not only carries historical significance as part of the Lincoln Cent series but also stands as a physical testament to the unpredictable nature of the minting process. And when we consider the broader historical context, the Lincoln Cent has been one of the most enduring and beloved coins in American history, having transitioned from the wheat reverse design of 1909 to 1958 to the Lincoln Memorial reverse from 1959 through 2008, with the 1996 falling squarely within the Memorial reverse period. Yet this seemingly ordinary year became the birthplace of one of the most valuable coins ever due to the mysterious convergence of human error, mechanical imperfection, and perhaps even a stroke of fate. And the demand for such coins is further fueled by the psychology of collecting where scarcity creates desire. Desire fuels competition, and competition drives prices into uncharted territory, so it is no surprise that a coin like this has reached a valuation that dwarfs even the most luxurious cars, houses, or works of art. And beyond its monetary value, the 1996 penny tells a deeper story about craftsmanship, human fallibility, and the enduring allure of tangible history, because unlike digital assets that exist only in the ether, a rare coin is a physical artifact. A small yet enduring piece of the past that can be held, studied, and passed down through generations, carrying with it the stories of the people who struck it, found it, preserved it, and fought to own it. And for the collector lucky enough to possess this $223 million treasure, it is more than a financial asset. It is a crown jewel of numismatic achievement, the ultimate conversation piece, and a legacy that could outlast its owner by centuries. And so the next time you find a penny lying on the ground or resting quietly in your pocket change, remember that within the vast sea of ordinary coins, there could be a hidden marvel, a 1996 with secrets to reveal and a story to tell, a coin that might just be your ticket to unimaginable wealth if you have the patience, curiosity, and keen eye to recognize it.